Hello, my lords and ladies. Welcome to the very first episode of our Skaventide series. We're going to be doing a bunch of videos on Skaventide. Speed paints, normal paints, you name it, we're going to be doing it. First off, as always, I'd like to thank all my YouTube members for all of your support. This does take a lot of time and effort and obviously money, so I greatly appreciate it. If this is your first time with the channel, hit that subscribe button, or don't, whatever, just watch the video. Support the channel if you can. Hit that thumbs up, hit that bell. We post at least one video a week on here. Without further ado, let's go. Alright, the first thing you're going to do is we're going to prime our miniatures after you build them, of course. I put some basing down. You can use it however you want, and then we're going to spray paint them with some Agrax white. Now, obviously, this is a speed paint, so this is going to be as fast as humanly possible. With the white over the contrast paint, you're going to give yourself natural highlights, so you don't need to do a lot of highlighting. We're going to use a Guilliman Flesh on all of our flesh areas to include the arms, the face, the legs, the feet, all that stuff. The one spot I would avoid is all of your fur areas, as we're going to paint that here in 1 second. Well, as I just mentioned, for our fur areas, we're going to be using some Skeleton Horde, another contrast paint. Again, contrast paints are good for what they can be used for. In this case, when you have 40 base clan rats you need to paint, it would take you forever to paint them. So we're using a lot of contrast paints on these. We're going to do different color schemes. We're going to be posting a bunch of different videos. So we're going to use this onto the fur. Moving on, for our robes. Now I'm going to be using a bunch of different colors, and again, we're going to be kind of dibble-dallying into certain things. So we're going to use a little bit of Sigvald Burgundy on this miniature. Now when you put this on, the white sticks out and it looks fantastic as is. But I think it looks really good on this clan rat. On our belt area, we're going to use some Aggaros Dunes, again another contrast paint. Now I don't use contrast paints on a lot of things. I use it on certain things in certain situations. Again, we've got a lot of clan rats to paint, so we can't waste a lot of time. So we're going to make it look good, get it on the table, and get our army fielded so we can really make it look, well, good, like I just said. For our wooded shield area, we're going to use a little Snakebite Leather. Now you're going to know what you're going to say. Well, it says leather. It's not leather. I know it's a wood, but it really looks good as a wood, especially with the graininess of the miniature. For the tail area, we're going to use a little bit of Volupus Pink. And obviously I messed this shot up because my fat finger is in the way, but you get the point. Switching over to our base paints, we're going to go with the bread. If you have bread and butter, this is definitely the bread, which is a Leadbelcher on all of our silver areas. For 3 areas, the horns coming out of the top, the teeth, and the claws on our feet. I guess it's 4 areas. And there's a little claw you can see on the thumb of our clan rat. We're going to be using some Morghast Bone. Now these clan rats are so small, it's so hard to get into the very intricate details, especially the hand that's holding the shield. You can use some silver here, but I just went with Corvus Black just to keep it very minimal here. And finally, as our last base color, we're going to use a little bit more Volupus Pink on the nose area of our clan rat, just to give it a little spice. Now we're only using 2 washes here because we only use minimal base paints. You could, in theory, use it on all the fur and skin areas, but I am not. I'm going to keep it as is. We're going to use this on the bones, the teeth, the claws, and if you really want to use it on the wood, again, I probably would avoid it, but it is up to you if you want to try and darken it up just a little bit. For all of our metal pieces, this goes without saying, some Nulin Oil. You could use Agrax Earthshade since we are kind of using some sewer creature type looks where it could be woody brown mixed with the dark colors. It's really up to you, but I went with Nulin Oil on this. Now you could easily field your miniature as is by just painting the base and going forward. We're going to add some little highlights just to make it just a little bit better. Again, this is a lot to do for just a 40 things, but we're just going to do minimal. So we're going to put some Emperor's Children in between the cracks of our tail, and it really brightens it up really quickly. Next, for the fur areas, we're going to use some Zandri Dust. I also use this a little bit, I mean very sparingly, on some of the face areas. If you notice that there's some lips around the teeth and some kind of warts that our clan rat has, you can use a little dabble of this on there just to brighten it up a little bit. But we're not going to overdo it, we're just going to try and brighten up a little bit. If you made it white and you put the contrast on, it should be sticking out more than enough. And just for the little teeth, we're going to use some Morghast Bone again over those teeth in the bone areas. And don't forget your little thumb and your claws on the feet. Again, very minimal. I'm going to use another highlight after this, probably a couple more highlights on the teeth, because that will be kind of a focal point when you're looking at it. For our metal areas, we are going to use some Runefang Steal to brighten those up. So the spikes on the shield, your sword, and obviously your chainmail area. I wouldn't use a dry brush on this because, again, these clan rats are so small. I don't have ginormous hands. I have probably bigger than average hands, but that thing is tiny compared to my hands, as you can see in this shot. Again, we're going to continue with brightening up the bone areas just a little bit. We're going to use some Ushabti Bone on the teeth and the horns that are coming out. And then we're going to follow that up with a little bit of Screaming Skull. You can use white if you want, but that just adds an extra step if you're looking to brighten up a little bit. But again, we got 40 of these to paint. I'm going to be using a ton of different painting schemes that I'm going to be posting, so you can pick which ones you like and go from there. All my clan rats are always going to have red eyes. So we're going to put a base down of Mephiston Red, and you can add some Evil Sun Scarlet to that if you want. Now this is really super optional because it's very minimal on if you actually see this. You can't really tell unless you're really staring at the miniature up close. So again, this is really optional. I'm going to use some of this Plaguebearer Flesh. I'm going to use this on some of the Horde areas. There's a couple warts on the tail, some on the face. Again, you can't really notice, so it's really optional if you want to do it. Moving on to the base of our miniature, I'm going to be using some Gorthor Brown. And again, I already pre-did my base with base paste and then spray painted over it. Again, you don't have to do this. It's just something I do. Once your brown or whatever color you want is completely dry, I'm going to use some Agrax Earthshade, and with that white undercoat, it'll really stick through. So that's what I usually do. And it's the end of the video, because it's your favorite part. We're painting the base. I always paint my bases in black for the most part. I'm weird like that. I know most people do in brown. I just like black. And that's it. That's all she wrote. And they look fantastic for a quickness. I did 2 of these in 45 minutes. That's all it took. Super quick, get your paints out, get it done. Listen to a book, listen to some music, you got it. Well, that's our first episode of the Skaventide with some clan rats. Again, we're going to have a ton of videos, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Paint on.